A few years back, I used to work at a taxidermy shop. I did it for just a few months, but I would say this one job experience has truly inspired most of my work recently. If you've seen any of my artwork, you can see that there's a heavy influence whenever it comes to flayed and open anatomy, more recently with animals. My main job there was to work on the eyes of the animals. Don't be too impressed yet. The taxidermy eyes for the deer and all the other variety of creatures, a lot of them were actually quite exotic, were glass eyes. My job was to go through, take a little bit of, I'm going to refer to it as sculpting. It's a little bit of clay that just kind of dries once you're done working with it. I would take this type of molding clay and I would put it around the eyes to help fix the glass eye and have a smoother transition. It's almost like I was trying to create the lids of the eyes, but it's more of the interior anatomy of the lids. I would develop the tear ducts and kind of finish off the edging that goes around the glass eye that transitions into the actual real eyelids. I would work on that, and I would do a little bit of the airbrushing that goes around the eye. Again, to help make a more realistic transition between the glass eye that sits in the socket and the eyelid that, of course, goes into the fur and all that. I would spend hours there, just working on the eyes, staring into these very realistic, glassy eyes that reflected back the world that I was sitting in. It was a very surreal experience. And again, if you've seen any of my work, you know that I'm all about that surrealism. It truly heavily influenced a lot of my work. After being there, I went on a stint where I was just creating artwork that dealt with eyes. Most of them were completely disconnected from any other type of form. It was just eyes. And from there, I started to branch out. And I think the taxidermist wanted me to start going into the field. Unfortunate for him, I really was just interested in it as a kind of side job. It was a very interesting job. I fully appreciated that he took the time to teach me what he taught me, but my heart wasn't into it. And for anyone who's out there, if you're going into a job, or maybe you're taking a class and you're really good at it, and I've had this before where I was really good at a class and my teacher wanted to try and push me into that as a career field, but I just didn't want it. And that's okay. You can go through life and find a lot of little things that you can find interesting. They could become hobbies, or they could just be a one moment in your life, a few months where you work on it, and then you just leave it alone. You never pick it up again. And that's okay. I do miss working at the taxidermist, seeing all the animals, being able to, and this is gonna sound weird, being able to pet them. You'll never quite understand what it's like to pet a bobcat without having to go to some kind of like protected enclosure, because, oh my god, they are so soft. And yes, that was another little thing I got to do. I got to work on bobcat eyes, and little bobcat noses. It was quite adorable. A little sad to see such beautiful creatures that were killed, but I know that hunting has its purpose. Even though I don't like to see the animals die, I know that there are a lot of instances where, it happens through accident or on purpose, but that's life, and I respect it. And what was great about this taxidermist and all of his patrons, all these hunters, they fully respected the animals. That's how come they wanted to keep them. Because they're so beautiful. And they didn't want to just leave the body out to just rot. They wanted to use every single part of it. All the meat inside. They wanted to use all of the little bits and pieces, and they wanted to, show the bodies. I know some people won't get it, and that's okay. But I get it. And they truly are beautiful in a haunting kind of way. Now, to move on as to why I'm showing a dove in this image, I've been recently working on a whole series of mostly fruit doves. There are a few other species of dove and pigeon that I illustrate, where they have flowers coming out of their body cavities. It's a bit of a beautiful way to represent their innards. I know there's nothing beautiful about just seeing their little intestines spilling out, so I wanted to kind of show the beauty of it by having flowers coming out. It was also a way for me to test out my coloring ability. I tend to shy away from bright colors. Sometimes I feel like they're too loud. But I really wanted to challenge myself. I've always been so jealous of artists who have vibrant colors, and I wanted a little taste of that. So I chose mostly fruit doves because of how colorful they are. If you're not too aware of what fruit doves are, do a quick Google search. They're so beautiful. And that was one of the last things that the taxidermist was trying to teach me. I don't know if it's because I had small hands. Maybe I was really good at doing tiny little delicate work with the tear ducts. But he wanted to teach me how to taxidermy doves. Now, where I live, we don't have anything as beautiful or as vibrant as fruit doves. We have little white-tailed doves. They're adorable and beautiful in their own way and very soft. He was trying to teach me how to go through and delicately kind of clean out their bodies, kind of clean the interior of their skin once you've kind of cleaned them out without damaging the actual skin. They're very delicate. I can't really walk you through all of it, but watching him work and how careful he was with this just tiny little body, it was very endearing. He respected all the animals so much, and he treated them like they're an art form. Delicate, sweet, and he was masterful at it. Once he was done, you would actually think that it was a real dove in your hands. And of course, I didn't stay long enough to learn more. I'm not sure if he was disappointed about that, but you can't push your goals onto someone else who's not interested. And again, I want to clarify. I do miss working at the taxidermy shop. But I know my heart wasn't in it, and I didn't want to waste his time by me just kind of going at it in a flippant kind of half-hearted way. The work was so detailed that you would have to put your all into it. It shouldn't just be a fleeting fancy. Because for him, it was art. Not just business. It was art. But upon leaving, there's so many memories, just instances. Sitting there, getting to see this huge variety of different types of animals that I would never interact with just because of where I live. It was very unique to have that type of experience. I'm telling you this story not to boast about the oddities that I've experienced in my life, because honestly, I don't live that exciting of a life. But it's just the moments that you take that really bring to life all these little bits of inspiration that come out in your work. And for anyone who's struggling out there as an artist, be open-minded about the different varieties of art you can get your little hands on. I had no idea that a taxidermist would need an artist. I had no idea a taxidermist was an artist. Because it takes more than just someone who likes to hunt, someone who likes to get their hands dirty. It takes someone who's delicate, who's considerate.